Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for bringing us all together again this morning. We ask that you watch over this fantastic community, watch over our first responders who protect it, give wisdom to our leaders, bless this food and our time together. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll get to, before our programming, we've got a few announcements to make, but I will get it started with any guests. I know Karen Brown, you want to start for us?
Yes, this is Cynthia Hernandez, the new director of Lake Highlands. She comes well qualified from work in New York. And the new Lake Highlands United Methodist Church pastor, Andy Roberts, who I know many of you know. So I think that they may be interested to stay in a while.
All right.
Welcome, thank you both for being here this morning. Any other guests we have? Yes?
I'm Ronnie Carrasco. I'm with the City of Richardson Convention and Visitor Bureau.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. All right, a few quick announcements. Next Friday, April the 7th, we've got a little change. Heard from a lot of folks that Easter weekend, a lot of people are going to be out of town, so we are going to punt on our meeting next week, so no meeting next Friday. Item number 2, coming up on April the 19th, Lake Highlands High School has asked for volunteers from the Exchange Club to go help with some of their graduating seniors that are trying to put together resumes for the first time, learn about interviews for the first time, how to go through that whole process. And they're looking for 5 to 10 volunteers. If that's the kind of thing you're interested in, I think it's a couple hours one morning up at school. Please let myself know, or Mr. McCutcheon, who I don't believe is here this morning, but send a note to either one of us if you're interested in that. 5 to 10 people, like I said, should be pretty quick and easy, but I think it'll make a significant impact for some of those kids. Speaking of significant impact, a lot of y'all followed the basketball team this year. Big Samson Alaton, who was the center on the state-winning basketball team. Samson is 6'11", and Samson, his suit right now, I think the sleeves come to about here on his arms. You cannot go buy an off-the-rack suit for a 6'11" guy. So there is a group of people that are trying to get together and, as a graduation gift, get Samson an actual real legit suit before he goes off to Yale and does all the great things that he's going to go do. So we're going to do a little pass the hat. We've got a couple ways to do it. One, there's the QR codes on our club QR codes on your table. If you want to give that way, I'll also just pass a pitcher around for anybody who just wants to throw in a couple bucks cash. No obligation to do it, but something that we felt like we had an opportunity to help with. Last but not least, I'll ask Mr. Stafford to come up. Yes, sir.
For Samson, if y'all did not get to see the WFA story on him, I'd encourage y'all to look that up and then maybe reevaluate if you're gonna donate or not.
Thank you, Tori. Take it away.
Good morning. Oh, there we go. I was going to say nothing. Thank y'all for that. So good morning. In case you did not notice Bill Boyd's amazing social media outreach or ignored Rick's email, we are live for tickets for the Spring Benefit Concert. We are at the Granada website. You can go to our website to sign up, buy tickets. The ticket levels are the same price as last year. There was a fee at the Granada, different venue, that's what they do. $150, 2 people. The VIP drink package is all you can drink. We can't say all you can drink right now on the website, so VIP package just means all you can drink. Let's keep that in mind. So 2 people, $150, 1 person, $100. There is a new ticket level of $40. That's a cash bar if you go do that option. We are trying to grow this event and get people, hey, we love all Exchange Club members. We want to get more folks from outside the club as well, so that's really the intent at the Granada. It's got space for technically up to 1,000. I'm not saying we're going to get that, but we'd love to beat the attendance we had last year, which was a couple hundred. So please spread the word. Silent auction items, live auction items, thank y'all all who've helped out on that. We're still working on those, and for sponsorships, still looking for those as well. So if you have friends or businesses, reach out to me or Andy Freeman. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Hank did tell me offline that he's going to be actually checking the list and hunting you people down that aren't buying tickets. Go ahead and get on that, get your tickets, so we don't have to come find you. I think that's all I've got in terms of announcements, so I will turn it over to Mr. Nathan Trapone to introduce our guest this morning.
That was a little better than Hank's, so appreciate that. Good morning, Lake Highlands. Good morning. With us this morning is Tracy Ruckle and Kevin Cummings from Community Impact. I might be stealing a little bit of Tracy's thunder, but real quick, who has heard of Community Impact? Okay, Tracy, they're buttered up for you.
All right.
So the publication was founded in 2005 and has over 30 editions across more than 60 communities. Community Impact launched in Lake Highlands about a year ago, so what better way to celebrate your first year in Lake Highlands than over some biscuits and gravy with us. Kevin is the general manager, Tracy's the general manager and Kevin is the editor. And they're here today to share more about the company and the ever-changing news media landscape. So with that, I'll invite Tracy and Kevin to come up.
Morning, Lake Highlands. Thanks for inviting us and have this opportunity to talk to y'all this morning. Really appreciate this. Like I said, this is Kevin. He's our editor. He's been great. He's come on a few months ago to help us with the paper. We're about to celebrate our 1-year anniversary here in the neighborhood and here in the area. And actually, we'll share some details as we get them, as they come through a little bit more. But we are going to be having a 1-year anniversary party in April, on April 20th at Vector Brewing. And we'll, try to get as many details to the club and out to all y'all, so you can come join us hopefully and have a few beers and help us celebrate. I'm gonna get started. Sorry, we had to shoot the PowerPoint over to Nathan's. There we go. Anyway, as Nathan had mentioned in the intro there, we were founded in 2005 in a little town outside of Austin called Pflugerville, which some of y'all may be familiar with. At the time, even before then, there was a lot of struggling with the newspaper industry. Many, hundreds if not thousands even before then had struggled, gone out of business, so on and so forth. And the founder of our company, John Garrett, actually at the time was in ad sales, selling advertising for the Austin Business Journal, and came to the realization when he saw this huge monstrosity being built right through Pflugerville. At the time in the mid-2000s, y'all may remember, toll roads being built throughout the state like crazy. They kind of transformed the whole Austin metro, as well as having a big impact on some of the traveling around here in DFW. But he went to his own newspaper, went to the Austin American Statesman, went to the great Google machine online, and realized, I can't find any information about this. What's going on? And had a light bulb moment that came to the realization of that local reporting, local news was something that had gone away, especially in his community, but really in the realization in many communities across Texas and across the nation for that matter. So he decided to start a newspaper. Everyone thought he was nuts. It's the 21st century. What's going on? Everything's supposed to be digital. So he decided, you know what? I know how to sell advertising. I'm going to hire my wife to do some of the graphic design. He hired his old journalism teacher out of college to be our first editor of the company for the Pflugerville edition. And he kind of turned the the old newspaper business plan on its head. Instead of relying on people to subscribe to the paper, or even having the papers printed and sending them, you know, at 7-Elevens or at different businesses and crossing our fingers that people would pick them up, he decided, you know what, let's try a tried and true delivery method, use the old U.S. Postal Service, and send it directly to people's homes. And in addition to that, give small businesses in the community the opportunity to have kind of a captive audience, to be able to advertise their business. People want to support local, even, you know, back, you know, 18 years ago, that was the case. I think even as time has passed and as we've come through the back end of the pandemic, I think people want to support local even more these days. But as you can see, we started in 2005. That was literally our first edition with that cover photo of Highway 130. Some of y'all have probably traveled on it, the toll road that goes, when you're north of Boston, you take Highway 130, 85-mile-an-hour speed limit and the whole 9 yards. It's actually kind of awesome. Our headquarters is right there on the side of the highway. You can see if you're when you sit by it at 85 miles an hour. But as you can see, we started in that one metro with one paper, went to 60,000 mailboxes in Round Rock, Pflugerville area with 4 employees. And now fast forward to 2023, we're in 4 metros across Texas, basically the 4 largest ones, Austin, Houston, DFW, and our most recent metro that we opened is San Antonio, with over 200 employees now and 36 editions across the state, which by monthly circulation actually makes us the largest newspaper in the state of Texas. We were actually featured a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic hit, by Forbes as one of the top 25 small businesses in the United States. And it's all been 100% funded from day one by local advertising and their success and their growth. So our mission is to provide trusted news and local information that everyone gets. Our vision is to build communities of informed citizens and thriving businesses through the collaboration of a passionate team. This is something that we really, as a culture with our company, really pride ourselves more than anything in, that we are present. You will see us at many different events throughout the community. We're very involved, for instance, myself in the Greater East Dallas Chamber, as well as having reporters and editors being present at every city council meeting, every school board meeting, and the vast majority of the time at these meetings, we're the only media that are covering it. You do have obviously media covering these meetings from time to time, but normally it's when they kind of get a heads up that there's going to be something controversial going on there. We're there even in the most boring meetings of them all and covering the most mundane, and in a lot of cases that gives us the ability to provide information through our pages and through our website that is exclusive, because of the fact that's where a lot of our information comes from, is from those meetings that we cover. We have 5 stones as a company that we rely on and really make the backbone and foundation basically of our culture. And as you can see, they're faith, passion, quality, innovation, and integrity. You know, with faith, it's, you know, we firmly believe that we are out to accomplish something great. It really is something that inspires, you know, I think, if not all of us at Community Impact, but I can only speak for myself, but it's really inspiring to try to really kind of bring back that local community paper. We have a third-party market research company called Redex Research that gets great feedback from our readers, and it only kind of confirms that fact. Our purpose in the communities that we serve as well is to be a light for our community. Our readers, our customers, our partners, just the community in general. And you know, I can't stress that, you know, enough, in the fact that just the culture of our company is 100% about the community. It's in our name. So it makes us very proud to serve the communities that we are in. Our circulation, like I mentioned a minute ago, is the largest circulation in Texas. It's upwards pushing 2.6 million almost, with 200 plus employees now in the company and almost 4 million readers delivered to, you know, homes through the U.S. Postal Service. So it's not something people have to rely on that's going to sit out in their yard and get wet in the rain or something like that. As I mentioned, with some of the feedback that we get from our readers, is we have a high engagement and high readership. 77% say they've read at least 3 out of the last 4 editions. Comparing that to the 71% saying they use Facebook regularly or vote in the last presidential election, 67%. and even more than doubling the people who said they watched the last Super Bowl, which is surprising to me, because I mean, who wouldn't root for the Chiefs, right? I mean, but yeah, I'll turn it over to Kevin here, our editor. After we kind of have what we call the triangle, what we call in our company, the journalism and design team with the readers and the revenue that comes from our advertising that basically revolves around the talent that we have and our collaboration as a company. So we collaborate together. We always say, you know, our papers, the additions are made, you know, in our office, because both in the community and in our office, we take our experiences that we are able to garner in our experiences in the community, take those into the office and collaborate together as a team to put together, you know, the best foot forward that we can for each community that we serve. There you go. Yeah, you jumped ahead one. No, it's all right. So yeah, the main emphases of reporting that we do are revolve around. Sorry guys, a little snappy.
Yeah, I write. I don't do technology. But these are kind of the main focuses that we have when we're in our coverage. So business and dining and nonprofits. We typically have 2 features in every paper: a business or nonprofit, and a dining feature. Typically, we kind of like to think of those as if you're new to the community, what would you kind of be interested in, or if you've lived here for a long time, you know, maybe you don't necessarily know about a certain business, or you don't know the backstory behind them. For example, I've been going to the Lakewood Landing since I turned 21, we'll say, and we had the feature in our newest edition. I did not know that the guy had 2 very adorable dogs. But there. And then transportation and development, obviously that's kind of the core of what we started with John Garrett starting the paper in Pflugerville. As everyone's probably familiar, that kind of affects everyone's daily life. Education, city and county, like Tracy was saying, we have reporters show up at pretty much every single Dallas City Council meeting, Dallas ISD. We're not necessarily always in person at the county commissioners meeting, but we do watch those to make sure we're up to date on what's going on. And I think something that's unique about community impact in this part is that we cover city and county. We don't cover the politics of it. We're going to give you the information that you need to know, but we're going to stay out of kind of the horse race or the drama, palace intrigue that goes along with it. And then we obviously have local events and trends. We have a to-do list in every single paper. And then because of the fact that we're out in the community all the time, because we're covering these new business openings and new closings, it kind of gives us a unique perspective on trends that will help drive kind of our larger in-depth feature stories. And then we cover real estate, both on terms of trends and stuff like that, new developments. Mixed use is obviously something that's a big trend. But we also keep a page at the back of the paper that kind of keeps up to date with residential real estate, home prices, and stuff like that. And then we also cover healthcare. Again, all these things are kind of stuff that's important to the community, important to people that affect your daily lives. And that's really kind of our main mission, is what do you need to know that affects you on a regular daily basis. And the way that we try to do that, beyond just having awesome writing, is through our use of infographics. I think one of the important things about getting that information across is making it simple, making it easy and digestible. I don't think anybody's under the impression that everyone reads every single word of a news article. So these kind of help to visually tell the story and kind of just make what can be sometimes really complicated topics a little more accessible to certain people. I think in this story we're talking about municipal water districts and stuff like that, so you know, stuff that everyone's thrilled and fascinated by. But you gotta drink water. And so yeah, we do have obviously our physical paper that's on the table in front of you guys. Those come out monthly, but on a day-to-day basis, we operate online as a daily news outlet. We have our website. we also have a newsletter which goes out to a lot of people. I don't remember the exact number. There's a few zeros behind there.
We just passed the 170,000 mark.
170,000.
So yeah, we have 170,000 newsletters. They're each individualized to the community. So in ours, you're only going to get stuff that's relevant to the Lakewood and Lake Highlands area. If you live in another town, Richardson, Plano, you're only going to get those news or the stuff that affects you. And then we also have our CI storytelling, which I'm going to let Tracy talk a little bit about more because I'm more on the editorial side, and so that's not necessarily my expertise.
Yeah, so we, in addition to one of the other digital platforms that we offer as a storytelling piece, that is more, a lot of times we'll get asked by companies, can you do like an advertorial type thing, or can you, do this type of thing in your paper? And it's very important to us to be seen and known by our readers first and foremost as a news organization, and that we're not going to be biased by anyone or anything or any company or any entity. So we really shy away from trying to do those advertorial type pieces. In addition, like when Kevin had mentioned the business features and even the nonprofit and dining features that we do every month, those are not advertorial pieces whatsoever as well. You'll notice from month to month, it's very rare that one of those is actually also an advertiser in our paper. We definitely want to keep that line between advertising and editorial very thick and very separate. But the storytelling piece is a piece that's only online. It's something that a company can hire us to use one of our professional journalists to come out and help tell your company's story, kind of as a living more like a public relations piece, but that's something that we offer as well on our digital platform. And then not a newspaper company of the past, obviously. What I like to tell people is what we're finding in our growth and our success is it's not the print industry that's dead, it's not the newspaper that's dead, it's the business plan that's dead. We just kind of took it and flipped it a 180, and we're finding growth and success. People, it turns out, want to know what's going on outside, on Main Street there in their front yard. They want to know when that pothole is going to be fixed, what's going on with the schools. We have the ability to get tons of information, both regionally and nationally, through these great electronic devices that we have. But when you're looking at outside your front door and you want to know exactly what's going on right there, that's where we come in. But our content, hyper-local, unbiased, useful for every resident, both daily, weekly, monthly, whatever form you want to get it in. The frequency, obviously, monthly in print, but as Kevin was saying, news happens every single day. Our e-newsletter, which I can't stress enough, to go to our website and check out. You can check any one or to 36 of the communities you want to get morning emails sent to your email box from. And you'll notice on our website as well, it's a very clean experience. We're not part of the big Google ad exchange. We're not part of any sort of other big ad network that most other websites, especially news websites, are. 100% of the ads that are on our website are contracted to be there through us. And everyone gets treated the same, whether it's Baylor, Scott and White, for instance, or your burger place down the street. They're both paid the same amount of money. They're both guaranteed the exact same number of impressions. No one's given any other special treatment with that. Yes, so we print, mail, and deliver our paper to every resident. A few years after we launched the paper, we realized, as volatile as paper costs, as ink, transportation, all these things that are so out of our control, we needed and wanted more of a way to be able to have more ownership, so to speak, and control over that process. So we built our own printing facility and started our own printing company as well, which is crazily enough known as Community Impact Printing. And so all 36 of our editions statewide are printed at our facility there in Pflugerville. This is obviously a picture of the printing press and the facility there. It's extremely state-of-the-art. What that also did for us, in addition, was open up a whole slew of other print products that we could offer to small businesses mainly, like postcards, full-color glossy inserts, things of that nature that you can be more targeted with. If you say you didn't want to do an ad in the paper to go to the entire community, you wanted to do something a little bit more targeted, well, we have that ability with those products as well. Getting back to some of the Redex data. So Redex Research is actually a third-party market research company that's based in New York, been around since the 1940s, well-respected in the industry. And they survey our readers, give us amazing feedback from our readers, and kind of tells the story as to how this is happening in 2023 with a newspaper company here in Texas that's growing. Some of the great feedback that they give us, you can see here on the screen, 78% say they would miss community impact if they moved. It's interesting, one of the first advertisers that jumped on board into our Lake Highlands Lakewood paper is the store in Lake Highlands. And I'm sure some of y'all are familiar with the store over there, and Cheryl, her daughter was down in the Austin area for a few years, went down to school, was living down there, and moved back up here a year or two ago. And when Cheryl and I were meeting last year before the paper launched and we were talking, her daughter came walking by in our meeting and I had the paper and she was like, oh my gosh, community impact. She had been a reader of it and got it at her home in the Austin area for the years that she had lived there, and had moved here and had dearly missed it because it was her one resource for her community, where a one-stop shop to tell her everything about the community, from the local schools to local business openings to all that kind of local news that she had been used to getting, and was so excited that we were coming here to launch in Lake Highlands. 55% say they share the paper with at least one other person every month. It just goes back to the usefulness, of the information we provide. 77% say they feel more involved with their community because of getting our paper. That is really the one thing I think that sticks out for me as far as the most proud feedback we get from our readers. I mean, community is in our name, and it really makes us proud that people, just from the fact they get our paper, that we're kind of bringing communities together. 76% say they read more than half of each edition. It's something they're not just going in and grabbing a coupon from their local restaurant, although we love it when they do that. But they're actually engaging with the content in the paper as well. And then 87% say they like, future ads would help them make, future buying decisions and things like that. So it's really, helping support local, I think, is what drives it. And then I think all of that comes from is the content that, great journalists like Kevin here are able to provide, with completely unbiased news that is something where, we don't do politics, we don't have an editorial page. That really helps drive the trust level up. And, we have people from both sides of the aisle politically, so to speak, that I, hear from on a weekly basis that tell us how much they love our paper. And when you get that kind of feedback, you're doing a good job and doing the right thing. Can you switch back real quick? Sorry. But yeah, as far as the most trusted news platforms, you can see, we come in, well above the competition as far as any other news organization out there. In addition to that, they tell us we have the most useful local news, more than double the competition as well, with the TV news coming in second there. And then also with the favorite ad resources, you have the ability for these businesses to advertise in a kind of a captive audience, so to speak, where it's just going into the mailboxes in specific neighborhoods. In addition to that, 97% consider their overall experience of our customers. These are our advertisers speaking. We also have them surveyed as well. So their overall experience is to be between good and excellent, with 70% being in that excellent category. There's a couple of other bits of info that I don't think are covered on this slide. That I noticed this morning when I was putting the finishing touches on it. But the main one really is the fact that 78% of our advertisers that are surveyed by us say that they would recommend their business neighbor next door to use us for advertising as well. Advertising is a tough game, but when you have that kind of consensus, almost 80% saying they would basically use us as a referral, I think that's pretty powerful messaging as well. All right, so recently, the reason I brought this up is because recently we had down in one of our home markets down in the Austin area in Round Rock, they had a city forum where some of the city council people met, as well as a lot of city officials. And some of the findings that they actually at a city council meeting were sharing with the community there were that 77% of the residents say they got most of their, vast majority of the information about their community from our paper. And this is reflected both in our REDX surveys, where people tell us this kind of information, but this was like really rock solid. This is given to us by the city of Round Rock with their findings. They were kind of shocked by this as well, because they have their own city website, and they also have their own city e-newsletter and things of that nature that they provide for the community as a city entity. Yet it's our paper that people turn to for that information. And anecdotally, I can share with you myself as well, because not only am I general manager of the Lake Highlands Lakewood edition, I'm also general manager of the Richardson edition just north of here. Being in that community for the past 4.5 years, you know, I work with and side by side with people in that community who work for the city as well. And I can't tell you how many times over that time period that I've been pulled aside by different city employees that thank me and us for doing what we do, because they find stuff out from our paper that they don't even know, and they get paychecks from the city and feel like they should, you know that information before I do. So today, community impact. We continue to grow. As we mentioned, we have papers now all over the state. Our local satellite office here is in Frisco. Luckily, since Kevin and I are Dallas residents, we don't have to go up there too often. We can do a lot of stuff from our home offices, and being around town, being in coffee shops, you see us around the community all the time. But the top picture was a picture of our actual headquarters there in Pflugerville, and this is actually the print shop of Community Impact Printing below that. We actually just built a big brand new headquarters in the Houston area as well. Built it from the ground up and just opened that recently too. So the growth continues. This is share some of our circulation with you, and just to show you, starting off with kind of our other markets. Just to really, for the main thing, to show you a couple of things. All the markets that we're in statewide, first of all, and second of all, how in Austin and Houston in particular, we encompass the entire metro areas. You can see, if you're familiar there with the Austin market, from, you know, really the northernmost suburb there in Georgetown, all the way down through Austin proper, and even down south to San Marcos and New Braunfels area. As you look at our Houston market, very similar, and we go from, you know, Conroe all the way up in the north there, all the way down to Clear Lake and League City, down by NASA and down by the Gulf. So a lot of coverage there, opening up more and more papers. Our most recent launch into a new metro was in San Antonio. In late 2020 we did that, and it was exciting because, you know, as everyone knows, when the pandemic hit in early 2020, that we, as a lot of companies did, kind of put the brakes on some of our growth. And we were able to both pick up speed and put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, again by late 2020, where we launched in the fall in the San Antonio market. So that brings us to DFW. We launched in DFW a little over a decade ago. About 11 years ago. Our first market in DFW was actually in the South Lake Grapevine area. Then we moved over to Frisco and have kind of filled in the gaps along 121, where we came down into Plano, Richardson, and finally got into Dallas proper. And we had that was our main goal, was to get into Dallas proper as fast as possible after we had success in some of the suburbs. As kind of a formula that we have. And each market kind of partners with each other. There's so much synergy between markets. For instance, one of the reasons that we chose Lake Highlands Lakewood is because of the synergy with the school district. You know, Lake Highlands kids are going to RISD schools, and so much of the reporting that we do revolves around the local school districts that it just made perfect sense with that. In addition to that, we know that in far north Dallas, for instance, to the west of Richardson, is also a lot of those kids are in RISD too. But, you know, it's not Lake Highlands, it's not Lakewood. This is a pillar of the Dallas area, both with the community and the culture that it provides, and just the close-knit, almost like small town feel of this area. It was pretty much a no-brainer for this to be the first community as far as Dallas proper to launch into. And we have had great success. We've been embraced by the community here locally in Lake Highlands and Lakewood, and it's been a great experience. As I mentioned earlier, with our printing company that we launched a few years back, with the success that we were seeing with the paper, we have our newspaper editions that we print at that facility, and it's really a pretty cool process where they print the papers and then they're all shipped up right up on trucks right to the local post offices here and distributed, you know, right out to their every residential mailbox there. But it also gives us the ability, like I had mentioned, to do inserts, to do direct mail postcards, things a little bit more targeted if you wanted to, if you had a business or knew someone who had a business that wanted to do something like that. And in addition to that, in our papers, we do almost every month, what we call community guides. For instance, we did one in March. Our current edition is our camp guide. We know that this time of year, a lot of parents are looking towards the summer months and getting those kids signed up for local camps. So we include, as part of the reporting that we do for the local community, all those summer camps that those parents can, sign up for, the services they provide, the dates obviously, and everything that they're going to do. In addition to that, over the course of the year, we have our annual community guide, which is kind of a guide as far as information to look forward to over the course of the entire year, as well as a little bit of a look back on the previous year. We have an annual health guide, which does a deep dive into healthcare, and a number of different education guides as well, private school, preschool, and public school editions that you can look forward to over the course of the year as well. Yes, and our voter guide next month, obviously. We are digital. Obviously, we have our website that we post stories onto every single day, as obviously news is happening every single day, as well as our e-newsletter. Some of the great stats that we have from our web and newsletter is that we put up 300 editorial posts per week. Over 250,000 users across the state, and they spend an average of 2 minutes per page. So great stats there. They also, as far as our e-newsletter, we go to over 3 million each month now. And 500 to 800 subscriber growth per week is the average number of subscribers we're gaining on a weekly basis. So it's something that is growing. The click rate is 5%, and our unsubscribe rate is only 0.06%. So finding great success with that as well. In addition, that storytelling piece, like I had mentioned a few moments back, it really gives companies the ability. We've had a lot of companies, dozens of companies now work with us on this. It gives companies the ability to tell their story the way they want it told. You can have that story done by a professional journalist, sent out to any community or communities that you'd like for a full week. And then when that whole process is finished, you keep that information that has been done as a evergreen public relations piece for you and your company. So as far as some of the other feedback that we get and statistics that we get from our REDX friends, the print ads affect digital results. The way print ads work these days is it's not as simple as it used to be. It's not, hey, I see that ad, I'm gonna call that phone number on that ad. What do we all do? We see it, we go online, we pick up our phone, we go check out the legitimacy of that business online. It's something that really works in synergy with all your other kind of advertising platforms and campaigns that you have going on. And it's something that we have found increases your digital results as well. We find, and our strategy also, always when we're talking to companies and talking to businesses, is to kind of diversify your assets, so to speak. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket, whether it be print, whether it be digital, kind of do an array of different things. And then to end here, we are currently featured in the April edition of Texas Monthly. Basically telling this story really about how a newspaper company that started in a little town outside of Austin that nobody can spell and has barely ever heard of is somehow growing with lightning speed, has become the largest newspaper organization by circulation in the state of Texas, and continues that growth. You can find that both online and the print version of this month's, of April's Texas Monthly magazine. So we're really proud of that as well. You can become a community impact patron as well. Over the course of the pandemic, we started a patron program where we gave the ability to our readers to, if they wanted, obviously it's a free publication, to give us money. And it's 100% of the funding of the patron program goes to pay amazing journalists like Kevin right here. It is basically so we can stay at the top of the industry in being able to offer journalists, top pay and keep great talent on board. And that is all I got for you all this morning. Any questions that we can answer for you?
What's your readership age?
Readership age. Well, it's interesting. The demographics of each city, obviously, that we serve are the demographics of that city because we go to every resident. But as far as that, the answer to that question would go, our biggest, most successful markets in all of our areas also skew to be the youngest demographic markets in all of the areas. Here locally in DFW, for instance, our biggest, most successful paper is Frisco. And it's also by far our youngest market as well. Same thing in Austin and Houston. In Houston, our biggest, most successful papers are in the Woodlands, in the Cy-Fair area, and Katy also tend to skew to be the youngest demographic markets, which everyone thinks here when I meet with people, they think, oh, well, Richardson must be your best market because this is where all the old people live. And first of all, that's not true. It actually skews to be like 34.9 is like the average age of Richardson. But like I said, you know, the younger the demographic area is skewed, the more successful our papers are. Yes, sir.
Tracy, you were saying you don't do politics, but I see the voter guide's coming out. Can you talk about your approach on handling politics?
Yeah, so the voter guide is really just like it is. It's a guide. It's kind of a sample ballot. Like who is on the ballot. If there are bond proposals, if there's ballot measures, it literally just explains those out in layman's terms. Like for what's a good example? There's a isn't there a bond proposal? Like for instance, yeah, in Richardson, for instance, there's a bond proposal. They're talking about trying to build a new city hall. So it literally spells it out for you, like I said, in layman's terms, and takes the wording of that and makes it clear. In addition to that, with the election that is coming up with D10, for instance, we have did pose questions to all the candidates with that, and that is going to be on our website. And what we'll have there is we'll have a sample ballot in the voter guide, and then have a wording in there that will link to our website so you can go see the question and answer from the candidates on our website. Did you want to add to that?
Oh yeah, I was just going to add with the Q&A, we specifically sent it out. Obviously, being print, we have limited space, so the ground rules are basically 50 to 75 words. We're going to cut you off after that. No attacking your opponents and no factual errors. So we did have a few candidates send some stuff in that we asked them to go ahead and reword their responses because they didn't quite meet those criteria. But that's kind of how we try to stay out of it. And once those responses were vetted for factual accuracy, we're not changing any words or anything like that. So if there's grammatic errors, then you can thank your candidates for that one. But no, that's how we try to stay out of it. We're letting them speak for themselves and trying to keep as much of the what's the polite way to put it? But the infighting, yeah, the she said out of it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Kevin and Tracy, thanks so much for coming out. And as a special token of our appreciation, we got you a little Exchange Club mugs.
Oh, all right. Always gonna use those.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So one last programming note, as thanks for the plug there, Tracy, but we're off next week. Happy Easter. And then the week after, the 14th, is the District 10 Candidate Forum. So far we have 3 confirmed candidates. Of the 4, maybe 5, we're not sure if the 5th one's actually eligible or not in our district. But looks like we might have even gotten the 4th candidate confirmed this morning. So anyhow, April 14th, Ken Riney is going to be the moderator. So mark your calendar. All right, turn it back over to Carla.
Well, that was a great way to start a Friday morning. Thank you again for being here this morning. It was very entertaining. I learned a lot. That was awesome. As Nathan said, no meeting next Friday. Go out and buy your auction tickets. We gotta get it going. I don't know where our bucket ended up, but if you could throw in a couple bucks for Samson to get him a suit, let's do that. And thank you all again for being here. With that, we are adjourned. Y'all have a great Friday.